This is so nasty. Bro, where the hell is stream? It's saying that I'm streaming. Okay, there it is. Alright. Anyway, back into the trial again. Hey, what's up? First viewer, I literally just started. Oh, shoot. So we're getting back into this. I'm still in the same trial with Gina. I don't know. I'm hopefully going to get through the last part of this. This trial is actually a lot longer than I thought it was. Usually there's only like maybe one to be continued in the fucking trial, but this time there's been like two, almost three, I think. This one's a doozy. So I'm diving back into this. The articles that Mr. McGilded had deposited in Windibank's pawnbrokery are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. I didn't get to say it to the camera last time because for some reason the stream wasn't working, but I got a Cutwater vodka mule ginger beer and lime, and it tastes horrendous, but I don't know, I wanted to drink something. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilded. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now, here we all are again, the same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilded. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murderer, in fact, took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, and with the body being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under a seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilded died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean? I don't know what you mean. I already said all of what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Oh, please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But... Remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Runo now. Iris, we're on your side. Alright then, I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilda's pawn articles in the extraordinary case of the omnibus harbor secrets of which we have been hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, will you now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago? You will reveal the truth, a commodity sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it, then. Everything's going to come out, like Van Zeke said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take the risk. Truth is, that brickmaker cub was in the cabinet of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over my head, and the pair on the roof deck went off to call the cops. That's when McGill had slipped the driver some tin to do a run over to the... Oh my god. To the pawn shop roundabout. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Sorry, a friend is texting me. Good grief, this is outrageous. What you just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago. As you say, my lord. Then there's every chance I may have oh my god. Adjudicated an error in Miss McGilda's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes. Without a doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable. I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. That McGilda fellow was rotten to the core, just like that pickpocket. Don't forget with the lawyer from the east. They were all in on it together. You're wrong, the lot of you. Mr. Naruto, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug. I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe that? He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What an operation. Get the man off scot-free. Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop. Yes, the defendant made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilda's pawn articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of calamity you have just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
Hold it!
And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you? Weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the stage compartment underneath the seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pushed back under there so you can't see nothing at all. Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord. That's that's what he told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances? I don't know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying. Perhaps business dealings of some kind? Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. And then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone kneeling over on the floor. It was booming loud and all. I believe you let out an involuntary scream. Yeah, that's what gave me away.
Hold it!
The disc you saw. Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove line on the floor. Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps? I don't know, but McGilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat the cove with the knife in his belly up over the seat. What did he say to you at that time? He told me not to say a word about what I seen or heard to no one, about the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions, like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise. There were two gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. That's right. They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with a knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and McGilded got me out of sight. Out of sight? Where? Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, the clothes from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. They immediately left to fetch the police. It would appear as if they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left McGilded and the driver and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside. The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe. Fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. What did McGilded and the driver say to each other? I don't know what happened and stuff like that mainly. That pawn shop obviously being Windibanks on Baker Street. Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in the trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand. Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks. McGilded took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up all carefully before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it's got to be worth a few bob. Yes, Gina was sure that the disc must be worth more than Mr. Windibank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. The driver looked pretty happy when McGill had flashed some brass in his face. He wouldn't run off at a lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I seen or heard.
Hold it!
Threatened you how exactly? Told me I'd only be able to scarf her if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago. Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Which was... He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket for the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it. The ticket? Well, I never. Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, had to go to the pawn shop and pay money to keep it in love to stop it being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it. But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilder have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police? It makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilder had the driver deposit at Windibanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that, he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up. Well done, Gina. It couldn't have been easy to tell the truth like that. Ginny's really put her faith in you, Bruno. Yes, and thanks to her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible. It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement. I suppose I should. And another thing. Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange they've been whispering to each other the entire time? Yes, that is strange. It's like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it.
Hold it! Excuse me!
Oh! Blimey, you trying to give me a heart attack? You have been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, Sunshine. You think I got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this? And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilder took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. This disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilder's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited. I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the Gulf dead right after his trial. I knew that. So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own. Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime. Miss Lestrade, It would appear Mr. McGilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of the disc. Do you know why that would be? Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime. My lord. The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court inspection, sir. In a mysterious little box, deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that is a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. Oh, this is a to be continued, ain't it? Yep. I keep saving like right before them because the trial just goes on for so long. Ooh, child. Ooh, that drink is bud. Oh. So, this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago? And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, quick, let's open it and see what's inside. Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems. Wow, although in truth I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it's a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. So here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc, deposited at Windibank's at the same time. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But why? For heaven's sake. Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilded? I believe the answer will come clear if we listen to the music disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last. Wait, my lord. Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector? The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in a courtroom with some silly bit of music. This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no! That piece of evidence is police... Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interests here. But it's policy of the prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. God! Why'd they cut him off like that? Alright, it's hot as hell in here. I need this fan on. No further delays, please. Play the disc. Is this... That's code, isn't it? That's a message. That's definitely a message. That's not music. What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music. No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Graydon? This is really priceless. This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel? Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music box emanating from the box possibly be a new clue? I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how can it be? It's an abomination, counsel, mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow, and that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh. Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is... Just because this is a music box doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said that. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo.
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that what you've told us what they are not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Oh, well, surely you have an idea in mind? Because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is, yet. Runo? I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really. The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. That's a coded message. Alright. Well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Could it be? Is what these sounds are? Something's just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this one the music box makes. Yeah, the girl over there going like on the thing. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to press a defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of the latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box disc is... boop, boop, But now I want to know... Okay, so I'm stuck right here, but I want to talk about... McGilded got killed because of something that Lord Strongheart has going on, clearly. Because the first thing we have to do as soon as we get here, when we first got to London, or wherever the fuck we're at, I think we're in London, was to go to Magnus's trial and get him a non-guilty verdict. And Lord Strongheart was like, you know, that's the only thing I really need you to do, and it's super easy, go do it, blah blah blah. So what the fuck was he doing? And what does this music box have to do with, like, what does this disc have to do with it? Because clearly this is an encoded message, and it's for McGilded. What is the evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on the music box disc is... I don't know. I don't know. Is it this?
Take that!
Today's paper council? The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pig Purse Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. Oh, no, my lord, I was hoping that you'd look a little further down the page. Further down? Ministry mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter, being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams? Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever is the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports. Oh, yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? Hmm? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets and Morse code? Please, everyone, order! But this is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment. Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason, and what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know. For our sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations will surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished, and all the important discs lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry, because if the disc were to be discovered before it was found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason, punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it, and in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night, because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? What kind of shady shit is going on? And Lord Strongheart is in on it too, because he's the one that wanted Magnus to get a non-guilty verdict. It's even so bad that the inspector was trying to stop it before it got to a point where we were revealing this shit, but you think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. Oh, the prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure. The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Windibank, that being a most flagitious Flagitious? I've never seen that word before. For which this law, this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us... Oh! That kind of scared me. You gotta so let's have a rabbit and a pork here, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are? Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin, but we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right, we're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sound produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiated when McGill did anyway, was it not? I have no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the Gavin the other night like what you told us to. If we known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What Mr. do, Governor? What's up? Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of three in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here? We did, Gov, we did. Quiet down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to. You little rotter, getting us mixed up in all this mucky business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in proceedings. However, as it has, I will have to admit to the court record as evidence. So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government's communications are being intercepted? How could I possibly know? What do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of the staff in the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop. Let me guess. Juror number 5? We regular communications officers aren't as lowly as you are being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the ministry, and Mr. Graydon is the team leader. That's fascinating. Just digging yourself in a hole, man. He's lying. Just straight up lying. Why isn't he just not in the jail now? It's pretty obvious that he's the culprit. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential communications, Mr. Graydon. Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. And in any case, all messages are sent in ciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with ministry technicians and the ministry communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications, and he's received the top prize at the cipher cracking convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. You looking hella guilty. Brayden is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you kept your mouth shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent on listening to that box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of two distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those two in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A. And this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you can only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there is no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. That is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of crap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris? I mean, if the government's secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slide into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play Morse code? There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least. Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, two tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what? Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code? Oh, what's this, Bruno? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right. Well, come on then. What are you waiting for? Let's open it. Alright then, here goes. Look at that. There's another movement on the other side. So does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. And it looks like the two movements are linked together. They're linked. If you had two discs, they probably both play back at the same time.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the other side of the music box? What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds will both play back at the same time. Good heavens! As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With the second disc in place, the music box can be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry? This pure excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago, striking a deal over the disc or discs. Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it. Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue. The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Oh dear, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength, Bruno. You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon. If I must, though I may maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination.
Hold it!
So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan square. Artisan Square some years ago, but people there remember little about him. That doesn't make much sense though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed. There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Dear me. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan's quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. If you have nothing more to add on that note, let us return to the witness testimony.
Hold it!
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it, yeah. Who else, eh? Silly me thought he was just popping over for a nap after all them years, but a Rada had a dodgy job for us. Yeah, Ash? Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say. Do you mean to tell me that you, Mr. Grayson, that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Graydon's an old man in old China.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Eh? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Yeah, with Ash, I mean. You look at him now in his fancy whistle and flute and you wouldn't Adam and Eve it. But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember when Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Boy, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. On your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? My lord. Yes, counsel? The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case. Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Say no more. Skulking's never skulking.
Hold it!
I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk with the locals. That's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? So this business was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved? Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Alright, I thought clever dogs like you had worked out that one. Oh! Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? I don't... Let me guess, you don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that it was only at the moment of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well... There weren't the Appiages of homes that one came from. Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him. She took the name Graydon then, see? But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton, so that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of those two thieves, You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mrs. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct? Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change this and turn out to be extremely important. All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Windibanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to making us headway with this cross-examination could be those two brothers. Uh-oh. Looks like you do have relation to the man. That last name is Milverton, bitch. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name. Explain yourself, please, counsel. I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded. Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton. Milverton? Do you mean to say saints alive? Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? I don't. As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you join the civil service, and it will really take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to Mr. McGilded in collaboration with your father. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded. By the dint of this music box, you mean, counsel? Yes, stealing information being sent in government communications and selling it on to Mr. McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted this elaborate scheme by using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands. And a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever. But the deal with Mr. McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learnt of the situation, you appeared at Windibanks 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles Mr. McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the officer, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc. Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box? Huh? We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Windibank was killed. The intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box. As rather ingeniously demonstrated by using 2 prints from the security camera, indeed. So the question that naturally begs answering is this. Why was only that one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. His arm... Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. What? 2 nights ago, we know that there were 3 shots fired at the scene of the crime in Windibank's pawnbroker. One took the life of pawnbroker himself. One struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got you now, me old China. Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly, I was a fool to think I could trust common backsliding thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windibanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me, and as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense now has established a crucial fact. Which is... Well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windibank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm. Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself. And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windibank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder. Goodness! That's right, Mr. Graydon. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank that night is you.
Hold it!
Oh, upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communication station. But did the thought ever cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What? Are you suggesting? I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at that poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You what? There's no way. He's lying. Oh, damn, this chair is really not good for my butt. Well, it would seem that we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial, Mr. Graydon. Yes, I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, you have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully. But I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim. Nothing would give me greater pleasure. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance of the shop. When Windibank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused in the black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Well, that was just straight up lies. Y'all, it is hot as hell in this fucking room. Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger? It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth? Not until now Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood splattered all over the accused's coat? Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black coat that the pickpocket girl was wearing at the time. Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here. Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Ideals are no use to us here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as the basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has made a small quantity of the chemical reagent used, with your lordships. We can shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Bruno. Why not? Well, we know, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. And if they test with their chemicals... Oh, help. You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. But that's not Mr. Windibank's blood. That stain was from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by Mr. McGilded. who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution. Overruled. Lord Van Zieks, make it so at once. With pleasure, my lord. And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination. Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be... Counsel. Yes, my lord. Your cross-examination. Of course, my lord. This cross-examination doesn't go well. If I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Alright. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop right here. Because I gotta go to the gym, and it's been at least an hour and some change now since I started recording, and I don't want to make it too long. I still also gotta get up for work, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But at the same time, thank you to those who did join today. It meant a lot to me. Thanks for watching, even if you only watched a little bit. I'll see you guys next time.